So hello and welcome to this mega World T20 encounter that we have in the Women's World T20 encounter. It is going to be India versus England at Aberha, which was erstwhile Port Elizabeth, and the latest news that we are giving you is that India have chosen to bowl. Most likely there is not going to be any changes in this Indian team because they have won 2 games. England, on the other hand, have also won 2 very convincing games. The winner, what will happen is the winner straight semi-final.
Exactly, and potentially actually whoever wins this match could consider themselves favourites to top the group as well.
Absolutely, because this is the clash between one of the 2 favourites in this T20 World Cup. India, England, Australia. The 4th team could be either South Africa or Sri Lanka.
Correct.
Because Australia versus South Africa is also going to happen, and that is going to be a very, very tense one.
Absolutely.
But India versus England, for India, if they win this, they have more or less topped the group. But if they lose this, they are still all but through to the semi-final. But
We'll still have to wait a little longer to confirm the top.
They will face Australia in the semi-final.
Yes, and that's the key. That's the key, I think, for India, is that their motivation to win this would be to ensure they set up a final against Australia rather than a semi-final.
And this match will have lot of hostility and tension. Why is that? Because India beat England in the Commonwealth Games semi-final that denied the England women's team a chance for a medal, potential gold medal at home. And second, this is
series after that.
The series after that is the first encounter between the 2 sides since the Deepti Sharma run out of Charlie Dean at Lord's.
And don't forget, Deepti Sharma will in fact be a key member of the Indian team today.
Today as well. And it's the start of a new era, because remember, that was the last game for Jhulan Goswami.
Yeah.
And WPL, fresh of the auctions, we have had Heather Knight going, I think, into the Mumbai Indians team, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe RCB. Let's check that out.
Was it RCB? Yeah,
I think it was RCB. Heather Knight and RCB. Harmanpreet Kaur for the Mumbai Indians. Mumbai Indians and RCB. Smriti Mandhana is also there. And
the captain of RCB.
Captain of RCB. India versus England has always been a very, very tough encounter.
A spicy encounter, really. Don't forget, if India could have been world champions in 2017, if not for an
epic collapse towards the end, and Anya Shroff sold 6 for 46 that denied India glory at Lord's by 9 runs.
Exactly.
And that was the last time that Mithali Raj, Jhulan Goswami ever featured in a 50-over World Cup final. Because 2022, England had beaten India very badly in that ODI World Cup. So here now, what is going to be the situation? We'll just see what is the playing 11. As far as I know, there might not be too many changes. And there is one change. Shikha has come in for Devika Vaidya. Remember, Devika Vaidya had come in to replace someone else in the team, but that's not there. So Shikha Pandey, the pacer, is in.
Actually, remember, she only made a comeback quite recently.
Yep. So this is the playing 11 for the India women's team. Shefali Verma, no doubts about it. Smriti Mandhana,
again,
yes.
No doubt.
Jemima, fresh from that 50 that she had against Pakistan.
And a nice bid from the Delhi Capitals.
Delhi Capitals. And Harmanpreet Kaur, Richa Ghosh. But if you have to tell me who's been the game changer for India in this T20 World Cup so far, it's been Richa Ghosh.
Absolutely.
And then you have Shikha Pandey, Deepti Sharma, Pooja Vastrakar, Radha Yadav, Rajeshwari Gaikwad, and Renuka Singh Thakur. So essentially,
Renuka Singh, remember, your pace spearhead.
So you're playing with 3 pacers. Shikha Pandey, Pooja Vastrakar, and Renuka Thakur Singh. And you're playing with 3 spinners. If you have to look at Deepti Sharma, Radha Yadav, Rajeshwari Gaikwad. Deepti Sharma, off spinner, Radha Yadav, and Rajeshwari Gaikwad, left arm orthodox.
Right.
So, interesting. 3 pacers and 3 spinners.
I think they want, some variety, I think, in the bowling lineup. Because again, T20s, if you have 6 bowlers, for a fact there's going to be 2 bowlers who aren't bowling their full quota.
Yeah.
So if you have 3 of each, I think especially considering how much of a strength spinners are for India, the women's team, it's valuable that they have 3 of them, because again, Deepti is someone guaranteed wicket taker more often than not.
Yep.
The other 2 will be tasked with potentially holding up an end, getting maybe a couple of overs in, not too many runs conceded.
And Deepti Sharma, remember, fresh off her haul of 3 for 15 that she had against the West Indies, she became the first Indian, let me mention, first Indian to take 100 T20I wickets. So Deepti Sharma is fresh of that, plus she will give you batting depth. But on a very cloudy and slightly sluggish, you may say, Aberha wicket, It's very surprising that they've gone with 3 spinners. Normally, you would have gone with 4 pacers and 2 spinners, because even in the previous game, Radha Yadav did not bowl her full quota.
Exactly.
So, what is Radha Yadav's role in this team? That may be interesting to see, because Radha Yadav is a gun fielder. Probably for her fielding capabilities, I think they have got her in. So, the England 11's also here with us. We have got Sophia Dunkley, Danielle Wyatt, remember, who
went unsold in the WPL
and
action.
she'll be hurting, and she put out her hurt and emotion on social media. Danielle Wyatt, Alice Capsey, also with Delhi Capitals, Nat Sivabrant, Heather Knight, Amy Jones, Catherine Skiverbrunt. As you know, both Natalie and Catherine, they are a couple now, so they have got the Skiverbrunt name in that as well. Sophie Eccleston, very important player. Charlotte Dean.
Oh.
Well, watch out when Deepti Sharma and Charlotte Dean are at the crease. Then Sarah Glenn and Lauren Bell. So basically, England's problem in the last couple of months has been the lack of experience that they have in the bowling department. Because there is no Anya Shrapsol.
Exactly.
There is no other player that we may say. Maybe Sarah Glenn has been there, Lauren Bell. These two are very good along with Charlotte Dean.
Really?
Yeah. But the key is Sophie Eccleston and Natalie Skiverbrunt, because Natalie Skiver, with her pace, she can trouble the Indians on this up and down Aberha wicket. So remember, the other dimension for this match is that this is the first game for India at Aberha, because they had played their previous 2 games in Cape Town.
Right.
Now, how will they adjust to the conditions here? Because it's rather windy, overcast. Maybe the pitch could have some assistance for the pacers early on. So, India have chosen to bowl looking at the overhead conditions. And that is why, if they can restrict England to under 120, 130, they will be in the game. But it will not be a straightforward chase. Because what has been the 2 problems for the Indian team?
One is a collapse at the top of the order.
Not actually a collapse. They have allowed the opposition in this T20 World Cup to build partnerships. When they have had 2-3 early wickets, but in the West Indies game, a partnership of 73 was strong.
Right.
You allowed the opposition to just take the game away from you.
Absolutely.
Fielding.
Yeah.
Major issue, because you had misfields, you dropped catches. Luckily, you had Pakistan that day who fielded much worse than us.
As always.
As always. But now you're facing one of the favorites for the T20 World Cup title, that's England. They may not let you escape with fielding lapses when they are batting.
Absolutely. They're not going to.
Remember, as I have said at the very beginning, the remainder of the 8 teams, the 7 teams, huff and puff, fight amongst each other to face Australia in the final. And this Australian team is like a machine. 14 consecutive wins chasing.
Exactly.
And if you look at the previous encounter that was had in Aberha, where Sri Lanka actually started very well. They were about 50 or 60 for 1. But then when the spinners came on,
that's when they got
that was Grace Harris came in and she changed the game around. Then Georgia Wareham was also in good form. Then it allowed Megan Schutt to explore the lack of depth in the Sri Lanka batting. Maybe it may be a good composition call, team composition call, that India playing 3 spinners and 3 pacers, looking at the Australia-Sri Lanka clash that happened at Aberha. England, on the other hand, same composition. Which team will buckle under pressure? That remains to be seen. So, for people who are joining us now, India have won the toss and chosen to bowl. Equation very simple. Whoever wins this gets to the semi-final and also tops the group.
Win and you're in. It's that simple for either of these teams.
But for India, if they win, they'll have to win handsomely, because if they lose their next game, by the way, which is their last game against Ireland, if they win this, they are through. But if they don't win handsomely, their net run rate could be a big issue.
Exactly. And remember, when it comes to tournaments like these, in recent times, we've seen net run rate assume significant importance. So they will need a big win somewhere. They haven't quite gotten that yet.
Yes.
All of the wins have been good. But of course, you can also make the argument that if you win 4-4, even if they're by small margins, then it doesn't really matter what your net run rate is. You're through either way.
Exactly. So this group is pretty certain. England and India are going through because Pakistan defeated Ireland, but they'll face the West Indies, and doesn't look like they'll be one of the. And anyway, the remainder of the teams can only get to 4 points. India and England are already on 4. India will play Ireland in their last game. The other group, Australia, are through. But who will be the 4th team?
Exactly.
Because New Zealand kept themselves in the hunt with a win against Bangladesh, but their net run rate is woeful. It was 4, now it has come down to I think 2. The key tussle is going to be between South Africa and Sri Lanka. Because Sri Lanka, unfortunately, they'll face New Zealand next. But South Africa are facing Australia. If they lose that, they are all but out of contention.
Exactly.
So it promises to be a very, very interesting stage in the T20 World Cup today. India versus England, Australia versus South Africa, two massive games.
Absolutely.
And you're potentially seeing the clash of the four favorites.
Yeah.
England, India, Australia, maybe South Africa after they are lost to Sri Lanka. They are facing an uphill fight for survival. So this is what the current situation is. Harmanpreet Kaur will bowl. Let's see how India can restrict England to, because 120, 130, that seems to be the par for course in this wicket.
Absolutely.
If you restrict them to that, then I think you have a chance, because Shefali Verma, Harmanpreet Kaur struggled in the previous game against West Indies, to be very honest. Mandana will be the key, and then Richa Ghosh.
And of course, Jemmy is the person who scored a 15-year.
Jemmy, yes, but Jemmy played a bad shot in the game against the West Indies. Hope she can overcome that.
Absolutely.
And ensure that this Indian team, they need Jemmy's anchor role here, because they are facing a much better team.
And also because it's going to be stodgy kind of conditions. You're not going to be seeing a lot of free-flowing stroke play.
Exactly.
Despite it being a T20 World Cup, you're expecting a bit of a slowish, lowish kind of.
And remember,
track.
this is a team who are the kings and queens of white ball cricket at this point in time. India defeated England in the Under-19 World Cup, but they still made it to the final. And the women's team have always been major contenders, the senior women's team.
Correct.
So it promises to be a cracking encounter at Aberha. Let's see what happens. India versus England. We'll be back for the mid-innings.
And of course, after the match, we'll
after
be
the
back.
match.
Yes.
Let's see who has sealed the top spot and the passage into the semi-final. So join us at Sports Today for all that. We'll give you all the latest information. Tap that bell icon so when we go live. Like, share, subscribe on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we'll be back shortly for more updates. Thank you.
Bye-bye.